As you already know, last week in our final lesson, we discussed a literary concept called irony. And I told you that the reason that I did that was because we will be showcasing the concept of irony in censors. I want to remind you that irony is the opposite of an expectation. You expect an outcome to be X, and the outcome is Z. It's completely the opposite of what you were expecting. And we spoke about three different kinds of irony. We spoke about something called verbal irony, something called situational irony, and something called dramatic irony. In this story, you're going to have to decide if you're seeing either dramatic irony or situational irony. To recap, I want to remind you that when we talk about situational irony, the audience and the reader and the characters are surprised by the outcome. In dramatic irony, only the characters are surprised because some information has been given to the author or the readers or the viewers. The character were not privy to. That will make it dramatic, like in Romeo and Juliet. So the title of today's selection is The Censors. But before we move on to the selection, a couple weeks ago, I was seeing the news in CNN, and I decided to download this clip and show it to you so you can see how censorship works. This is censorship at work in a school. Once you, at the end of this video clip, I want you to share with me if you think that this type of censorship is correct or if it's not correct. Okay, so let me share this with you. Let's check this out. Please pay attention to what it's about.
Do you think the adults that banned these books have read these books?
Absolutely not.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not.
Because I don't think a moral compass could let you ban books that say equality and loving each other.
These teenagers in York, Pennsylvania are standing up to the latest example of controversy surrounding history and race that is affecting a growing number of America's public schools.
The school board cannot just silence our voices.
Last fall, the all-white school board of the Central York School District unanimously banned a list of educational resources.
And that resource list, which has a lot of bad ideas and some books that I would definitely not want in our district.
And I do not feel it's balanced, and I think it's divisive.
That list includes a children's book about Rosa Parks, Malala Yousafzai's autobiography, CNN's Sesame Street Town Hall on racism.
Racism? What's that?
And much, much more.
This is Hidden Figures. The movie was,
like from the movie?
Yeah.
This is the kids' version of the book from the movie.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for the students.
This is a board that, after hearing their students' concerns about diversity in the district, hearing my struggles with race, being an Indian American and consistently feeling like I didn't belong, after all those conversations for weeks on end, they still pursued this book ban. I want to learn genuine history. I don't want to learn a whitewashed version. I want to hear all of it. I don't want everyone to be worried about how we feel, because no one was worried about how BIPOC members of the community felt.
The ban caused school librarians to pull books from shelves and is creating real fear among educators.
I have to now, with this resource ban, think twice about whether or not I should or could use a James Baldwin quote as an opening for my class.
There are teachers looking over their shoulders, wondering if someone's going to be at their door, darkening their door, that you said something or you mentioned something or you used something that you were not supposed to.
The fact that all the banned materials are by or about people of color is just a coincidence, according to the school board president. Concerns were based on the content of the resources, not the author or topic, she said in a statement. She and the rest of the school board refused to speak on camera. She says it's not a ban. The materials are frozen while the board vets them. But the process is still ongoing after nearly a year. That suits some parents in this 82% white district just fine.
I don't want my daughter growing up feeling guilty because she's white.
That sentiment is spreading. At least 27 states have passed or are considering policies strictly defining what students are allowed to learn about race. One expert says the York ban is something new.
Yeah, this seems pretty egregious. I mean, I can see how certain trainings or workshops that some parents take exception to seem really outside of what a history class can be expected to do. But the kind of texts that are being banned here make me feel that there is now just sort of an allergy to anything that mentions race or racism.
This is about more than a book or a movie or even a curriculum, some veteran teachers say. In York, they worry it's a war on their profession.
I am not an enemy of the state.
That's right.
I am here to take care of your babies when they walk into my classroom. And there are some I'm looking up at, but they're still babies.
So they have been banning this material, which is just crazy. And when you ban material that is good and for the benefit of other people, that's a form of oppression. That's a form of evading things that we should be talking about, because there are things that we should be talking about. Censorship deals with the suppression or prohibition of information, whether the information comes from a book, a film, the news, or any other. That information is suppressed or hidden. And it is done with the excuse that the material might be obscene, that it might be political unacceptable, or it's a threat to security. And I would like to ask you a question. Is there any moment in which government censorship is acceptable? What do you say? And we're talking about censorship because the story that you're going to be reading today is about censorship. There are countries that practice censorship in a very strong way today. Like, for example, North Korea. Have you heard of North Korea? Anyone?
Yes.
Is that a place where you would like to live?
No.
Why not?
It's pretty much just a definition of censorship and corruption.
What they do to people is incredible. The people have no freedom. People are oppressed. You know what? People try to escape that country. If you try to escape that country, they catch you, they kill you and your family. Other countries that have government that practice censorship very strongly include Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, they did not even allow women to drive until last year. And China is a surveillance state. If you've seen anything about China, they have cameras everywhere, and they watch your every move. It's just ridiculous. And they even have an intranet. You know what an intranet is? It's not the internet. They have their own version of the internet. The story that you're going to be reading today is titled The Censors. It's a short story by Luisa Valenzuela. And Luisa Valenzuela is an Argentinian author, and she's going to use humor. She's going to use satire to examine a military coup or a military dictatorship by Jorge Videla, who reigned from 1979 to 1983. And the setting is going to be very important here, okay? And as you read the censors, notice how the story's cultural and social setting shape the theme. It's kind of funny, but in an unfunny way, right? That's what the author decided to do. And one of the techniques that she's going to be using is irony. We explained irony already. And she's also going to be using something called foreshadowing. And that's foreshadowing. It's when a writer uses clues to hint at events that might occur in the future. Usually these events are not very good. It creates suspense. And that suspense is what usually keeps you glued to the story. It causes you to be interested in a way that you want to keep on reading. And it is also used in movies in a way to keep you watching the movie. Suspense, because suspense works that way. So foreshadowing is going to be showcased in the story. And also the idiom. An idiom is a commonly used expression that means something other than the literal meaning of the word. When we're using figurative language. You also use idioms. When you're done reading the story and pages 124 and 126, you're going to be working on analyze the text, respond to the essential question, critical vocabulary, and vocabulary strategy. Okay? And that basically is the work that you have for today.